Welcome to Lawyers Who Care, the video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. On each episode, we will meet a new lawyer and they will share stories of when they went beyond legal counsel for the benefit of their client. My name is Andrew Samalin. I'm the principal of Samalin Wealth, a nationally recognized wealth management firm for lawyers, law firms, and their clients. So let's applaud lawyers who care and learn from them. Today, my guest is Jamie Miller. She's a trust and estates attorney from J. Miller Law Firm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Jamie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, Jamie, tell us what brought you to the legal profession.
Sure. So, like many people, I always wanted to be an attorney. I would send cease and desist letters to my Barbies, notarize it with a Hello Kitty stamp, normal things like that. I just took a little longer route to get here. I accidentally spent 10 years working in federal grants for high poverty schools. And when I was done with that, I decided to move back to Tulsa and go to law school at the University of Tulsa. So I've done that for almost the last 10 years.
Got it. And what's your specialty? Oh, hold on. I think everyone watching this wants to know. And what age were you when you started sending those cease and desist letters?
About 6 to 7. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. And what was your parents' reaction on that?
Well, they framed it later. So I think, I should say I'm an only child. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but.
Maybe. I'm the middle of 3, but I have a feeling that wasn't the only thing your parents framed for you. And what type of law do you specialize in, and why did you pick that?
Sure. So I have more of a boutique law firm, and I focus on just business, employment, estate planning, and probate. And I chose these areas because I'd like to help prevent problems and solve problems and work with people in an ongoing capacity. So those kind of fields are areas of practice where I can do that. So someone that's starting a business from scratch or buying a business and then being with them for the life of their business, for example, is something I really enjoy. And
obviously, trust in estates, it handles multiple generations. How is it that you're managing, let's say, with a particular family where there are multiple generations? Maybe there's the founder going way back, and then the child that then takes over the business, and then maybe grandchildren that takes over the business. How do you integrate that or those families or those components into your practice?
Sure. So yeah, absolutely. So estate planning for business owners, they absolutely go hand in hand. You should have a succession plan for your business, and that may be to pass it down to generations, or it may not be. So whatever you choose to do, just having a plan for that and having that plan be in writing is really important. So maybe you do have children or grandchildren who are interested and you want to make sure your business goes to them, or maybe you want them to have a right of first refusal, or maybe you want to sell to an absolutely independent third party. But what you don't want to have happen is to have your business assets in probate, if you can possibly avoid it.
Mm-hmm. And so this video podcast is speaking about how people went above and beyond for their clients. And I have a feeling that you have a story or two that you can share with us. Can you give us one?
Sure. I mean, on more than one occasion, unfortunately, I've ended up having to rush to a hospital or medical facility to be with the client because they ended up in an unfortunate situation and needed something like a power of an attorney or an advance directive. And these are things we talked about, but they didn't have done before. And so I have to bring a notary and witnesses, and we have to, first of all, make sure that they have the capacity to do that there. So are they on medication that means they can't do that, or are they still able to sign those documents? So I don't know if that's above and beyond, but I definitely, have had to kind of drop everything and be there for clients in that capacity several times.
I'm sure the family appreciates that level of service for sure.
Sure. And then occasionally I have some very odd probates where family members are the representatives, but they live across the country. So I end up having to do kind of boots on the ground things. There was one where the house had sold, but there was a car that was still at the house. New owners obviously wanted that removed before they moved in, understandably. Problem was the car had title issues, needed to go to a tag agency, but the car didn't run. So I couldn't just take it there. So, end up having to try to give it to a charity. That didn't work out. Ended up having to give it to a salvage yard. So that's not something that it's not a typical day in the office, but it's something that the clients couldn't physically do because they were all the way, across the country.
By the way, so speaking of coordinating these components across the country, how has COVID shifted, your business? So your practice is in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes.
And it is already geographically diverse. Again, we're out of New York, so things are, certainly much more compact here.
Sure.
How do you manage those components? And has the technology helped your practice in bringing people together, or is it, no, I still have to drive, or, what does that look like for you?
So by and large, it actually has helped. I think what we have realized and many clients have embraced is they don't always need to take time off work to come to the office. There's a lot of things we can accomplish in a secure video meeting. Now, my very older clients, they are not as embracing of that. They prefer to come in and face to face. But many, it's very efficient to do things via video, and it also allows me to reach other areas of the state, that I might not normally practice in.
So, what's your favorite part of the law to practice?
Honestly, I like working with business owners. It's maybe because I started my own business. I just have a heart for that. I'm also a mentor for SCORE. I don't know if you've heard of SCORE. And so I mentor in a couple of different organizations. I'm active in a local chamber of commerce. I really like being with someone for all the challenges of their business along the way, from the time they start it to the time they sell it. So.
And what's the part of your profession that you're most proud of?
I think that where I am maybe perhaps different from a typical attorney would be, I'm very big on communication. So I even have in my fee agreements that you will get a response within 24 hours. I hate the notion of the attorney who, won't ever call back. You don't know what's going on with your case. You've paid the money and you never get a response. It's a pet peeve of mine. And so I make sure, not to do that for my clients.
And I'm sure the response is absolutely, is welcomed from where they sit. I mean, do they give you feedback on that?
They do. I mean, and honestly, I will often hear from clients years after the representation has ended. I've gone to weddings, I've gone to graduations, funerals. I've been invited to Thanksgiving. I've been invited across the country. So, the probate client I mentioned earlier, we email every few weeks and exchange recipes because somehow we got talking about cooking.
Jamie, I have to tell you, being invited to a wedding is one thing, but being invited to Thanksgiving, that's a whole other level.
That's a whole other level. Yes, that is true, but very, very sweet. And occasionally I'll get like little random gifts or cards in the mail. So I really am fortunate. I've got really the greatest clients.
Good for you. Good for you. And they're lucky to have you. So if people want to contact you, if prospects are interested, what is your phone number? And if you could give it twice.
Sure. 918-938-1322. That's 918-938-1322.
And what about a web address for J. Miller Law Firm?
J. Miller Law Firm, PLLC.com.
And that's easy. And they can find you on social media?
Yes, I am very active on business, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google, I think. Those are all the ones.
Got it. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for your time today. Everyone, this has been Lawyers Who Care podcast, the video show that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And Jamie just showed that it happens every day. And we're so appreciative of Jamie Miller joining today. My name is Andrew Samalin. And if you have an attorney or are an attorney that might be appropriate for this podcast, please reach out to us at info@samalinwealth.com. And thank you for joining us, Jamie, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.